in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman.
New at 11, a more inclusive new comic series. It follows John Kent, who's the child of Clark Kent and Lois Lane.
This Man of Steel, though, is also bisexual.
John Kent, son of Clark Kent and Lois Lane, took over his father's job as Superman in this year's Superman Son of Kal-El. But as we just found out, that's not the only big announcement John Kent will be making this year.
Here it is. He is. This is the new Superman.
Now, DC Comics has announced that its latest Superman will be bisexual. John Kent is the most recent superhero to come out, following versions of Captain America, Aquaman, and Batman's sidekick, Robin.
So somebody sent me that a picture that is going around, and I feel bad because somebody's gonna go looking for it. It's about like Clark Kent's son, Superman, is coming out as bisexual. I think so. I'm gonna take it from this perspective, right? And I think which is because the arguments will roam up. There was recently I heard Warner Bros. Wanted to make a black Superman. And as a black person, I was like, why would you want to make a black Superman? You know what I'm saying? Oh, let's make a black James Bond. Okay, but here's the thing. Why don't we just make a new character? Why don't you make something different? You know what I'm saying? If this person is different, cool. Make a whole different character. Make a whole different thing. And I think at the end of the day, it becomes like and the description that black people felt like it was pandering. It was, why do you have to make this black? Like, who are you trying to be culturally appropriate for? There's a people group that you want to please. And this is the very same thing that these people groups are saying, oh, we want to be taken like everybody else. Okay, cool. Taken like everybody. Let's create something original and different. So I felt like it was crossing a line where it felt like, nah, like even black people weren't acceptable of a black Superman. You know what I'm saying? Then that shouldn't be acceptable as well, because at the end of the day, make a whole different character. That was not in the canon. That was not what was considered. But that's, I guess it's a different argument. For me, I feel like, you know, I love superhero movies. I love them with my kids. We love, like, you know, we know all the names and different things. And but as they're growing up in a whole different world. The world is changing. It's about ideals and it's always been that way. But it's with social media. It's like, I remember one time my pastor said, he says the difference with social media is that you could be this accredited doctor with all these degrees, and you'd be arguing with a 16-year-old sitting in his room. And he probably even has more people listening to him than you. Here you are, you're the expert. You're like, hey, but this 16-year-old kid is, because it's social media. It's an equal platform. Everybody can be heard, right? And now, if my kids are in this world where everybody's opinion exists, what is the most important thing I need to teach them? I need to teach them the word. I need to teach them who Jesus is. And you see, the thing is about, like, the character of Christ will always stand out beyond everything. When people talk about, oh, I need somebody with good vibes, who's just, Matthew chapter 9, Jesus is sitting with tax collectors, sinners, prostitutes. Everybody wanted to be around Jesus. It doesn't get more good vibes than that. The religious leaders are following, the sinners are following. Everybody wants to be around Jesus. How much more of a vibe is that? Right? Oh no, you know what I'm saying? We need to care about people with mental health. We don't know what they're going through. Oh, Jesus, here's a woman caught in adultery. Yeah, let's stone her. Okay, cool. He was without sin. If you've never done anything wrong, throw it. Throw the first stone. And everybody starts walking away. And I'm like, everything society's busy talking about right now is in Christ. No, we need to find a way to reach the youth. Bible scholars believe the disciples were teenagers when they were collected by Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Jesus was grabbing teenagers and saying, let's go do ministry. Let's go cast out demons. Let's go help people. Now, at the end of the day, that's what happens when you start fighting the world because you're thinking of all these ways that you can. Meanwhile, the message and the truth has always been about Jesus, has always been centered back on Christ. When you look at a lot of these, whether it's artists who are New America and different things, what a lot of the beef comes with is the church. Is the church wants to stay authoritative. And I understand why the church is trying to stay authoritative. Cool. But the authority was granted by God. And the more you move away from who Christ is, people see it. You right? People see it like, yeah, that's not Jesus. So now everybody can begin to describe. I remember I was arguing with somebody who was talking about like, oh, love songs. Oh, why would you do, Christian artists shouldn't do love songs. And I said, who should? I said, those, you're telling me those, and I call them lust songs sometimes, right? I'm like, if you're telling me that, if you're going to tell my kid that what that artist over there just pulled off, that song about shake your thing, take the clothes off, I'm like, if you're going to tell me that is what my child should be, that is a love song, you're basically handing over the reins of what is considered a love song to be run by the world, and you're saying that is a love song. Then how does my how my kids be able to know what the truth is? So there also needs to be real discussions, because I feel like what helped me a lot was evangelism, where I'd have one-on-one discussions with people. And when you're on the street, people actually tell you like, I don't believe this, well, I hate this about the church and what. If I invite somebody to church and I just say, come to church, right? That's cool. They'll sit down and they'll listen to the pastor, but I won't know what they don't agree with. I'll hardly probably never know what they're troubled with or doubting, on a real. And some churches have like, classes where they do this, where discipleship classes, you're coming in, members classes. And the problem is not everyone takes those classes. But if you can have a real one-on-one conversation and say, what are some of the things that you're struggling with? I remember there was a time I started reading like a lot of Dan Brown books and different things. And, there was always something disproving something, right? And I'm so glad, I'll never forget. And as I was a teenager, I called one of my pastors, Pastor Steve McMichael, shout out to him, somewhere in the States right now. And I said, hey, listen, I'm starting to have doubts of my faith because I'm reading a lot of this context that, is doubting. And he says, oh, I used to be a Mason. I'm like, no ways. Like, yeah, I used to be a Mason. And we started talking and he starts sharing about the truth. And that's why I started enjoying the context of, it wasn't just like the word of God, but he was showing me like proof. And I loved that. And that's the thing, is when you can be open with people and allow them to say, okay, tell me what your doubts are. What are some of the things you're going through? What are some of the things? And these are things young people are thinking, but we're told them like, this is not allowed. This is not allowed. Cool. But why? I need to be able to know why. Because if you tell me why, you've created something deeper than just on the subject. Because when I'm in a group of my friends and everybody says, well, this is now the acceptable way, I'll just be moving like a sheep because I have so many things just on the surface, but I don't have depth. You know what I'm saying? I don't have depth about what I believe in. It's just, oh, God is a vibe. Then the next thing I'm using the universe is like, what universe? Who? Where? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just, the toxic people, and just like, all of a sudden you're just using phrases because you just want to fit in. But there's no depth. Even to the I don't believe in God, because all these churches, okay, what do you know about churches? What do you know about God? And then you realize even the non-believers don't have depth in what they believe, in what they so-called believe. Tomorrow they're doing yoga, Buddhism. The next thing they're like, there's aliens, and then next thing you know, they're chanting some mantra from whatever. And there needs to be depth in the hearts and minds of our people, and that needs to be taught. That needs to be shared. That questions need to be asked. Why do we believe this? What is it that you believe? Do you have doubts about some of the things? Are you struggling with your faith? And these honest conversations, I think, is where our society will be able to know and approach where we're going with a stronger conviction.
96.9 FM, Pearl Radio.